أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد سيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين وحجة رب العالمين، المنتجب في الميثاق، المصطفى في الضلال، المطهر من كل آفة، البرية من كل عيب، المؤمل للنجاة، المرتجى للشفاعة، المفوض إليه دين الله. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخته العقيلة زينب وأخيه أبا الفضل العباس، ورحمة الله وبركاته. في رسالة من الإمام سلام الله عليه أبا عبد الله الحسين سيد الشهداء إلى أهل كوفة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من الحسين بن علي إلى الملأ من المؤمنين والمسلمين، أما بعد، فإن هانيا وسعيدا قدم علي بكتبكم، وكان آخر من قدم علي من رسلكم، وقد فهمت كل الذي قصصتم وذكرتم، ومقالة جلكم أنه ليس علينا إمام فاقبل، لعل الله أن يجمعنا بك على الهدى والحق. وقد بعثت إليكم أخي وابن عمي وثقتي من أهل بيتي، وأمرته أن يكتب إلي بحالكم وأمركم ورأيكم، فإن كتب أنه قد اجتمع رأي ملائكم وذوي الفضل والحجى منكم على مثل ما قدم علي به رسلكم، وقرأت في كتبكم، أقدم عليكم وشيكا إن شاء الله. فلعمري ما الإمام إلا العامل بالكتاب، والآخذ بالقسط، والدائن بالحق، والحابس نفسه على ذات الله والسلام. Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdal salati wassalam sent many envoys, ambassadors to parts of the Arabian Peninsula. One of them, the first one that the historians have narrated, was Sulaiman ibn Razin. Imam sent Sulaiman ibn Razin to the people of Basra. At the time, Sulaiman ibn Razin, when he arrived in Basra, the governor of Basra was Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. So when he heard of the news that Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdal salati wassalam has sent an ambassador with him, he has sent a letter to the people of Basra. They captured Sulaiman ibn Razin and they executed this loyal companion of Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdal salati wassalam. Sulaiman ibn Razin was the first to be killed for the cause of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, the first to be executed for the rebellion of Imam al-Hussein, Sayyid al-Shuhada. The people of Kufa, they knew the Imam, and they knew who the Imam belongs to, as in the household of the Imam is the holy household of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the progeny of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one that Rasulullah said, many times that follow them and follow the book. In addition to that, his father, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein's father, and that is the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he ruled from Kufa after Imam Ali 35 AH became the fourth caliph. The Imam first was residing in Medina. Because of the many wars that occurred in the time of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam decided, Amir al-Mu'mineen, the commander of the faithful, he decided to change the capital city of the Muslim empire, of the Islamic empire, to Kufa. So the Imam left Medina and he resided in Kufa. The people of Kufa, they knew Imam Ali. They knew, with all knowledge, Lady Zainab Salamullahi alayha, Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein. Lady Zainab, she had classes for the ladies teaching them jurisprudence, tariq, tafsir of Quran al-Kareem. So when the people of Kufa wrote letters to Imam Hussein inviting the Imam to make his way to Kufa, Ya Abu Abdullah, we don't have any Imam, we don't have any leader to lead us, so we invite you to come to Kufa so we can all be led by you. When we look into the history and the events that occurred in the time of Imam al-Hussein, Salamullahi alayhi, you find that it's divided in many parts. One, the time that the Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba alayhi afdalus salati was salam, our second Imam, he was forced into the peace treaty with Muawiyah. From that day, you see that the revolution of Imam al-Hussein was stamped on. It was written in history that this will happen, because the conditions of the peace treaty, one after the other, they indicated that Muawiyah would not abide to any of them. And Muawiyah, that's what he did. Muawiyah, after the peace treaty was sealed and it was signed, Muawiyah said it in public, this is a peace treaty that I will not abide to any of it, any of the conditions. So Imam al-Hussein salamullah alayhi, after the martyrdom of Imam al-Hassan, he did not lift a finger, because it was written into the peace treaty between Imam al-Hassan and Muawiyah that after my death, if I'm killed, and after your death, O Muawiyah, the governorship, the Khilafah, the Caliphate comes to me. As in Imam al-Hussein goes to Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdalus salati wassalam. And you are not allowed, you are not given permission whatsoever to give the Khilafah to your son Yazid. Yazid is far away to be chosen as a Khalifa. When Muawiyah died 60 AH in Rajab, and the news spread to who is the successor of Muawiyah, they announced that it's Yazid ibn Muawiyah. So Imam al-Hussein, he started his revolution. Now, after the demise of Imam al-Hassan, after the death, the halak of Muawiyah, and then when Yazid becomes the Khalifa, this man is called Amir al-Mu'mineen, the commander of the faithful. And Imam al-Hussein publicly, he announced his disregard to what Muawiyah has put into place his son, and that Imam doesn't agree to any of this. Others, they sat down quiet, and what we mentioned last night about responsibility. We have many people in the communities, we have many people in the country, among the people, that they don't raise their voice when it comes to injustice and justice, when it comes to oppression, when it comes to tyranny. They don't raise their voice. They say, مَا لَنَا وَالدُّخُولْ بَيْنَ السَّلَاطِينَ. Why am I getting into the argument of two kings? Let them do whatever they want to do. I just sit behind and I just look. In the time of Imam al-Hussein, many people, they just sat in the corner and they did not even lift a finger, they did not rebel, they did not even write a letter announcing that Yazid is not fit, he is not competent at all to become the Khalifa. So Imam al-Hussein sent ambassadors to all over the Islamic Empire. One of them was Sulaiman ibn Razin, and the other one was Muslim ibn Aqeel. In his letter, Imam al-Hussein says to the people of Kufa, and the Imam starts this letter like this: من الحسين بن علي إلى الملأ من المؤمنين والمسلمين أما بعد فإن هانيا وسعيدا قدم علي بكتبكم وكان آخر من قدم علي من رسلكم وقد فهمت كل الذي قصصتم وذكرتم. So you have written thousands of letters asking for the Imam to make his way to Kufa. Come to Kufa, we want you in Kufa, and we're here announcing our allegiance to you, Ya Aba Abdullah. Yazid is not fit to rule us, you are fit to rule us. You are the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So the Imam, what does he do? Imam, with him, he has a caravan. He has with him his sister, he has with him his wives and his daughters. So what does the Imam do? Does the Imam make his way to Kufa? No. The Imam, what he does is he sends an ambassador to Kufa to check the situation in Kufa. And that's what the Imam says to the people of Kufa. And he says to them, وَكَانَ آخِرَ مَنْ قَدِمَ عَلَيَّ مِنْ رَسُولِكُمْ هُوْ هَانِيًا وَسَعِيدًا. They brought to me these letters. وَقَدْ فَهِمْتُ كُلَّ الَّذِي قَصَصْتُمْ وَذَكَرْتُمْ. So I understood what you're talking about. وَمَقَالَةُ جُلِّكُمْ أَنَّهُ لَيْسَ عَلَيْنَا إِمَامًا أو إِمَامٌ فَاقْبِلْ لَعَلَّ اللَّهِ أَن يَجْمَعَنَا بِكَ عَلَى الْهُدَى وَالْحَاقِ. Okay, that's fine. I understand what you want. There's no objection to any of your requests or any of your letters. So what I'm going to do, وَقَدْ بَعَثْتُ إِلَيْكُمْ أَخِي وَابْنَ عَمِّي وَثِقَتِي مِنْ أَهْلِي. I'm sending to you, the Imam addresses them, and the Imam in his letter writes about Muslim ibn Aqeel, Akhi, my brother. The Imam says about Muslim ibn Aqeel. Muslim ibn Aqeel is the son of Aqeel ibn Abi Talib. Aqeel is who? Aqeel is he's the uncle of Imam al-Hussein. He's a brother of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. So Muslim ibn Aqeel is a cousin of the Imam. Muslim ibn Aqeel, the Imam says about this loyal companion, what? Akhi, I'm sending to you my brother. وَابْنَ عَمِّي وَثِقَتِي مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. And I'm sending to you to someone who I trust. وَأَمَرْتُهُ أَنْ يَكْتُبَ إِلَيَّ بِحَالِكُمْ. And I have ordered him to write to me what? Of the situation and the conditions that is going on there. So I decide later on. فإن كتب أنه قد اجتمع رأي ملائكم وذوي الفضل والحجا منكم على مثل ما قدم علي به رسولكم. So if he writes to me that you all agree together to follow my lead and you pledge your allegiance, then I will decide to come. Otherwise, I decide differently. So here, before we continue with the letter of Imam al-Hussein to the people of Kufa, let's talk about how Muslim ibn Aqeel came into Kufa. Muslim ibn Aqeel, when he entered Kufa, and it's a piece of history I want to mention. I don't want to go into too much of history. I want to connect the links of what is this has to do with us. Because we don't want to just listen to history and stories about 1,383 years ago. No, we want to link it. See how relevant that is to our time and to me as a Muslim, as a Shia, as a follower. Muslim ibn Aqeel, the ambassador of the Imam, when he comes into Kufa, at the time the governor of Kufa is Nu'man ibn Bashir. Nu'man ibn Bashir was the governor of Kufa. Nu'man ibn Bashir, he was following the Umayyads, but he was lean to the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. So he didn't object. He did not force any of the companions or the lovers of Ahlul Bayt into exile or send them to prison. He let them free, and they were very happy of Muslim coming into Kufa. The hadith says that when Muslim entered Kufa, more than 10,000. Another hadith mentions 18,000 Kufans. They pledged their allegiance to Imam al-Hussein, salamullahi alayhi. 18,000. They pledged their allegiance to Imam al-Hussein. They surrounded Muslim and they begged Muslim to reside in their houses. That we are here as your servants, come to our houses. You are our guest, and we will be honored for you to reside in our houses. So Muslim ibn Aqeel, he stays in Kufa. Yazid doesn't like what's happening in Kufa when he hears the news, and he sends a letter to Nu'man ibn Bashir. What you doing? What's going on? Why am I hearing that 18,000 pledged their allegiance to Hussein ibn Ali? I am the Khalifa. How could this be? Nu'man ibn Bashir wrote back to him in a reply that they haven't done anything. They're not killing anyone. They're not, stealing or any other criminal activities is not happening from these people. They're just pledging allegiance and they're listening to lectures. That's it. He didn't like that. Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Yazid sends a letter to who? Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad was the governor of Basra. Like, make your way to Kufa. Make your way to Kufa. Until Nu'man ibn Bashir is dismissed. We no longer want him as a governor. Take control of Kufa and see what you can do to break the groups of people surrounding Muslim and pledging their allegiance to Muslim ibn Aqeel. He comes into Kufa dressed as Imam al-Hussein. You know, the way Ahlul Bayt used to dress, the amama, the turban and the saya and the dijdasha, it was different from what Bani Umayyah used to dress, or the governors of Bani Umayyah. So the people were excited. When he entered the governorship house, he entered the castle, he was welcomed by Nu'man ibn Bashir, not knowing this is Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. After Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad revealed that he's Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, he dismissed him. He said, get out, you're no longer wanted, and I'm taking control, and I will do what is needed to be done to break these groups of people following Muslim ibn Aqeel. Here, brothers and sisters, this is a test that we want to address. We, as humans, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us to do what? To test us. And we have in the Holy Book ayah. It says that we have created you to test you, to see who prevails and who fails, to see who ends up in paradise and who ends up in inferno. You are tested. We are all tested differently. Some people are tested when it comes to children. Other people are tested when it comes to money. Other people are tested when it comes to health. Everyone is tested differently. For that period of time they are tested, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them the reward of how they pass the test. The more severe the test is, the harder the test is, the more reward Allah gives to this individual. So when the people of Kufa are summoned by Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, the heads of the tribes, when they enter and they see Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad having a mountain of gold in front of them, and he tells them, either you take the gold or the sword, which one do you want? Here you find the test. That's when the test is. Are you failing the test or are you passing the test? And their loyalty is tested. Looking back at the companions of Imam al-Hussein, the ones that were killed in Karbala, 72 companions. 72 companions. And we mentioned this, 72 fighting 30,000, in other hadith says 40,000. Yet you find this 72, even though the quantity of this 72 is not great, but the quality is great. One of the things that these 72 had, one of the virtues they possessed was this: loyalty. They were loyal to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They were loyal to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. If you count all the numbers of the companions, the ones that were killed before the day of Ashura, on the day of Ashura, after the day of Ashura, after the killing of Imam al-Hussein, all that time you find it to be 100 and 100 to 110. So, how could the name of Imam al-Hussein be everlasting with these few companions? How could this be? One of these virtues that they possess is this loyalty. And when it comes to Abu Fadl Abbas, for example, we tell the example of his loyalty to his brother, and how great his loyalty was to his brother Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Same when it comes to Muslim ibn Aqeel, his loyalty is tested, and the loyalty of the Kufans is also tested. How could this be relevant to us in this time and age, 21st century? I claim to be a Shia. I claim to be a lover of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati was salam. But when it comes to Muharram, when it comes to Safar, when it comes to any occasions that we either commemorate or celebrate the occasions of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati was salam, I don't show any interest. Not just that, it's not just coming and going to the majalis of Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdalus salati was salam, brothers and sisters. It's listening to them and following their footsteps. Just by name, some people are followers of Ahlul Bayt. Just by name. When it comes to real following Ahlul Bayt, as in following Ahlul Bayt to every step of the way, the number is counted very few. It doesn't exceed 300, 400. That is why if you look at the hadith that talks about the soldiers of Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salatu was salam, the 313 elites, the best of the best, the generals, there are 313. One of the conditions of the Imam reappearance is that the 313, these soldiers of the Imam, the elites of the Imam, companions, the number is complete. 313, is this a large number? Is this a great number as in quantity wise? No. We have more than 200, 300 million Muslim Shia followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. We have 1.4 billion Muslims. 313, you can't find them? 313 elites? No. Because the best of the best have to be chosen. And everything is tested. One of them is loyalty. He says to them, either gold or sword. Means death. Which one do you want? Pick your poison. And of course, the heads of the tribes, they chose gold over following Imam al-Hussein and fighting Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, claiming that we have an army coming from Damascus, a large, huge, magnificent army coming from there, that you will not be their match. And there wasn't any army coming. So these people, they were tested when it came to their loyalty, and they failed this loyalty. They failed it. And that is the issue we have today. Again, we put this into test. Today, am I loyal to my Imam? Imam al-Hujjah, the awaited Imam. Am I loyal to Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdalus salati wassalam? Am I truly, with my heart, with my senses, with my all senses, following the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam? That is a question that is raised. And everyone can look into their lives. Because in public, and I say this, and you can look around and you can look at yourself also, and you can say yes or no. In public, we like to show off our religious faith and how much faith we have and belief we have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with prayer and fasting and recitation of the Quran and the tasbih and the a'mal and the khutumat. But when it comes to private, behind closed doors, we are actually enemies. Some people. Nastajiru billah, God forbid. They are enemies of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. They claim to be lovers of Ahlul Bayt, but when it comes to their actions in private, no. You don't see this person to be anywhere near what Ahlul Bayt have asked them to be. And Imam al-Jawad has a hadith that says, do not be friend of God in public and his enemy in private. So there's no loyalty. That we take every path that we see fit. If hardship comes to us, and this is the phrase, this is the word, hardship, su'uba. When hardship strikes us, we lose faith. When hardship strikes us, we don't have any more loyalty. We are no longer followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. That is the issue that the Imam faced at that time. Yes, there are hundreds of people claiming to be Shia. Thousands of the Kufans pledged their allegiance to Muslim ibn Aqeel. But you find Muslim ibn Aqeel, Radwanullah ta'ala alayhi, Salamullah alayhi, when Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad announces that there is curfew and everyone should go back to their houses and you are not allowed to shelter Muslim ibn Aqeel in your houses and keep him safe, you find these same Kufans that surrounded Muslim begging him to reside in their houses as a guest for them to serve Muslim ibn Aqeel. You find them all to go different ways. And Imam al-Hussein said it beautifully. Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdalus salati wassalam, he said, people, they come around the religion as long as the religion abides to their own lifestyle. If not, they run away. They take a different path. الدين لعق على ألسنتهم يحوطونه ما حطت معايشهم فإذا محصوا بالبلاء قل الديانون. If they are struck with calamities, with hardship, قل الديانون. You find the religious people are no longer there showing any support to Ahl Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. Muslim finishes Salat al-Maghrib, he looks back and he finds that the number of the so-called companions have shrunken. And then when he finishes Salat al-Isha, he looks back and he sees a couple of people. So he gets up from the mihrab and he exits the Masjid al-Kufa, and he starts walking in the streets. Every turn, every right and left, he loses another person, and then he looks back and there is no one there. There's no one there. There's no one there. That is why we say gharib, by himself, alone in a city that is a city of strangers. He doesn't know. The city of Kufa. He was their guest yesterday, and today he's a stranger roaming around the city, not knowing where to go. And he was riding his horse hours. He was going around the city until he came to a house and he talked with his horse. He said, "You are tired, I'm tired. You are thirsty, I am thirsty." Brothers and sisters, if we take the example of Muslim ibn Aqeel, it's the same example of our Imam, the awaited Imam, Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. And today is Jum'ah, it's Friday. It's a day of Imam al-Hujjah alayhi afdalus salati wassalam. We recite in dua al-Nudba, أين الطالب بدم المقتول بكربلاء. We recite that. Imam al-Hujjah, al-Hujjah ibn al-Hasan, Sahib al-Asr wa zaman, he's roaming the streets and the countries alone because there is no loyal companions for the Imam, supporting the Imam. And it happened what happened in Kufa. They surrounded the house of Taw'a after she sheltered Muslim ibn Aqeel. And Muslim ibn Aqeel fought the soldiers. Muhammad ibn Muslim, he came with 500 soldiers to fight Muslim ibn Aqeel. 500. And he started fighting Muslim, but they couldn't get anywhere. He sent a letter to Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, an ambassador he sent to Ubaidullah, a messenger saying that send me reinforcement, backup, send me another 500. Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad replied to him that I sent you to arrest one person. You want another 500? To which Muhammad ibn Muslim wrote back to him saying, you sent me to fight one of the Hashemites. One of the Hashemites. Send me another reinforcement if you want this man to be arrested. So they couldn't fight him. They couldn't fight him. If they go near him, he strikes them. So what they thought was to dig a hole and get him to go to that hole and fall into it. And that's what they did. He fell into the hole and he became all bloody and his teeth were broken and his lips was striked as well and it started to bleed. They took him to the court of Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. When he entered the house of the governor, and when Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad saw him, Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad started to curse Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi afdalus salati wassalam. He started cursing Lady Fatima al-Zahra. He started cursing Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein. To which Muslim ibn Aqeel, he said, I have couple of wasaya that I want to say to the person right next to you. I want him to do them after my death. Who was next to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad? None other than Umar ibn Sa'd. He refused to go to Muslim. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad looked at him and he said, he's about to be executed. Go to him, see what he wants. He went to Muslim ibn Aqeel, and Muslim whispered in his ears and he said to him, there is a money that I took as a loan. Sell my shield and pay it back. And then he said, my other well is this, and this is the one that is more important than any other of them, and that is to send a messenger to my Sayyid, to my Mawlai, to my master Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, telling him not to come to Kufa because the people of Kufa are not loyal. They left me. To which when he finished, Umar ibn Sa'd came back to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad and he said to him, do you want to know what he said? He said, no, he gave the world to you. So you see what kind of people Ahlul Bayt have to deal with. One of them being this man, Umar ibn Sa'd. And then he ordered for Muslim ibn Aqeel to be executed, to be killed on the roof of the governor's house. To which he said to him, what do you want? What's your request, your final request? He said, bring me some water. I want to drink. I'm thirsty. They brought him the water. As soon as he brought the water next to his mouth to drink, a drop of blood fell into the water. They brought him another one, same thing happened. They brought him a third one, same thing happened. And then he said, Allah wants to see me thirsty, being killed thirsty, martyred thirsty. And he didn't know that his master Abu Abdullah al-Hussein on the day of Ashura also he will be killed thirsty. And then Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad ordered for Muslim ibn Aqeel to be taken to the roof. Before they were about to execute him, he said, let me pray 2 rak'ah. He finished praying 2 rak'ah and then he looked at the direction to which Imam al-Hussein was making his way to Kufa, and he said, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulullah, Sayyidi wa Mawlai. Don't come to Kufa. This is why the Imam said to them, if I see that he writes to me that you are loyal, then I will come to Kufa. The Imam was about to come to Kufa with his family members and his companions. So when they killed Muslim ibn Aqeel and Hani ibn Urwa and they dragged their bodies from street to street, the news reached Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdalus salati was salam. When the Imam heard of the news of Muslims' martyrdom, the Imam said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It broke the Imam's heart. Brothers and sisters, the sons of Aqeel, the family of Aqeel, they gave everything they had for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The first one of them was their father, Muslim ibn Aqeel. And his sons also were killed on the day of Ashura. So this family, they sacrificed everything for their Imam, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. When this news, the killing of Muslim ibn Aqeel, reached Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdalus salati was salam, he came to the daughter of Muslim ibn Aqeel, Hamida bint Muslim, and he called her, and then he said to her, sit in my lap. When she sat down, he started, the Imam, rubbing her head. She said to the Imam, what are you doing? Why is it that you're doing to me like you do to the orphans? Is there anything that happened to my father, Muslim ibn Aqeel? To which the Imam said to her, yes, daughter, your father, Muslim, was killed in Kufa. Assalamu alayka ya Safir al-Hussein, ya Muslim ibn Aqeel. His loyalty is an example for each and every one of us. And on the other hand, the disloyalty and the treason and the disloyalty of the Kufans is also an example for us. that which one are we? Are we following Imam al-Hussein? Are we following Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam to every extent? Even if that means sacrificing our lives for them, for our Imam al-Hujjah, for our Imams alayhim afdalus salati wassalam, or are we different? Are we steadfast? Are we standing there firm, helping Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam? And that is why you find lots and lots of people throughout history, they started great. They were very good in their religious duties. They were worshippers, they were scholars. But when it came to the last moments, they failed the test. That is why we have a hadith, we have ad'iyah that say, when we recite this ad'iyah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to end our lives like we started our lives, with all faith and beliefs. Allahumma ja'al awaqib umurina khayra. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخته العقيل زينب وأخيه أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله